This isn't the same world your father lived in. You're never going to get ahead in this economy by earning money. And if you're a young person who clicked on this video, chances are you've already intuitively discovered this. You can try to work harder all you want, but your rent and living costs just rise way faster than the puny extra few bucks you make from working more. You can try to get an education and acquire a skill, as they say, but you're just going to accumulate unbearable levels of debt only for an AI to take your job by the time you graduate. And of course, my new favorite one, just get into the trades. Hey, if you want to do that, more power to you. But just know you're probably going to end up paying with your health in the long run. This is made worse by the fact that the powers in charge have made it to where literally everything in life is about money. If you're poor, you're automatically a loser and a horrible person. If you're rich, you're a god to be worshipped, no matter how many others you stepped on and exploited to get there. But more importantly, it has a deathly vice grip on literally every aspect of your life. What you can do, where you can go, when, and even if you get to eat. It feels so damn oppressive, like a godly force in the sky watching over and controlling literally everything you do. But does it have to be this way? It certainly seems so. It's the only world we've known our whole lives, and it's really hard to imagine how life would be any different. But what if it could be? And what if Gen Z is already starting to figure out clever and creative ways out of this nightmare simulation? Before we begin, let's clarify one thing. This video isn't some wacky woo-woo science where I tell you you don't need money at all to survive. All you need to do is meditate and visualize or whatever. No, this isn't going to be those pure delusional copium rants that tell you, oh, you don't need money because you can be rich in love and healing the planet or whatever. Not that any of those things are bad, but unfortunately, we do live in a material world where we need money to survive. No, this is indeed going to be about how Gen Z is finding insane cheat codes, glitches in the simulation to get rich without money. But as you'll soon see, this directly and ironically allows you to save and make a lot more money itself as well.
Money is not food. Money is not energy. Money is not housing. Money is not healthcare, okay? If we give everybody money, we have not increased the amount of actual resources and assets we have in our society, okay? So you don't make society richer by giving people money. You make society richer by creating and having more resources and assets. So if I give everybody more money, all that happens is the prices go up. But if I give you a bit of money and him a lot of money, then he gets richer and you get poorer because you have a bit more money, but the prices have gone up relative to both of your increases in money. So I think this is the thing I want, and the reason I'm hammering this down is because they did that in COVID and they got away with it. And to be honest, the Conservative government lucked out with the Ukraine war because that took the entire blame for the inflation, which in my opinion was caused by their massive increase in inequality.
This is Gary Stevenson, a brilliant trader and economist who quit his extremely lucrative day trading career because he felt so compelled to do something after seeing all these problems we're facing today. Big respect to Gary. We need more young voices like him in charge of the world today. This clip was a mind-blowing epiphany for me because he's absolutely right, and I never really thought of it that way before. Money itself is not a resource. It's just a method the government created to more effectively keep track of resources. Unfortunately, that also means it's been used to control and exploit us. In our current world, the rules are you have to acquire money first, then use that money to obtain resources like food, for example. And since this is just the way it's been our whole lives, we've come to just accept it as the way things are. But what if you could bypass this middle step of making money altogether, free yourself from the burden required to obtain it, and skip directly to the step of obtaining resources? This is what a lot of South Korean Zoomers are already figuring out how to do. A new report recently came out highlighting how young South Korean farmers are now literally earning more than white-collar workers. Food is a resource as old as time. It's one of few resources that we know for a fact will be valuable so long as humanity exists. And as such, it's not subject to the relentless, unpredictable market demands that are constantly shifting in the rapidly changing world we live in. Cars replaced horses, airplanes replaced ships, and AI is replacing, well, just about everything. But food is something we'll always need. Not only are these young South Korean farmers earning much more than white-collar workers, they're working a lot less and in a much more chill and relaxed environment. And all the comments have noticed this as well. Good for the soul. Making money and out of the rat race? Sign me up. Looks much more relaxing than a typical office job. This is good because life in cities is financially unsustainable. The exorbitant cost of living is a deterrent to mental health, people getting married, and having children. Now, this comment brings up another great point in which you'll see we harp on throughout this entire video. In this day and age, with how expensive everything has gotten, minimizing your living expenses and your burn rate is just as, if not more valuable, than actually earning money. These young farmers not only make more money and have a more chill and peaceful work environment, way better for their mental health, they save a lot of money by not having to live in Seoul. South Korea, and specifically Seoul, is the embodiment of the nightmarish capitalist hellscape we live in today. Kids are pushed into hellacious 12-hour school days from kindergarten. Work hours, absolutely insane. People literally die from overwork. You're constantly being pressured to climb the corporate ladder, literally from the time you're born to the time you die. And just like every other big city dominated by corporations, one way they keep you constantly trapped in this never-ending rat race is by constantly raising the cost of living. Anytime you get a slight raise or come across any amount of cash, immediately prices go up and you're right back to where you started, living paycheck to paycheck, unable to save up anything at all. Not that long ago, it was the ultimate status symbol in Korea to climb the corporate ladder. They brainwashed everyone else into believing this, but like everywhere, Korean Gen Z are way too smart to buy this illusion. They've started a trend of escaping the corporate dumpster fire of Seoul and moving back to farming villages in rural areas. And they're not only richer in time, mental health, and quality of life, they're actually richer in money itself as well, as they're able to not only make more, they're also able to save way more, a lot more, by not having to pay for the insane living cost in Seoul. But to be fair, the circumstances in Korea are a bit exceptional. They're using what's called smart farms with a lot of high-tech equipment to make the job much easier. And with the oversaturation in white-collar job markets, the Korean government has seen the necessity of these smart farm projects and is providing a lot of money to help subsidize it. So the real question is, can you do something similar to this no matter where you live? Well, let's find out. Hey guys, so I'm on a mission and I need your help. You see, I've made it the purpose of this channel to defend Gen Z from all these nasty, delusional Gen Z haters. And I've just realized we're starting to get close to taking down the most despicable one yet, the angry guy. This guy is not just another delusional old fart calling Gen Z lazy. He's literally had videos where he openly celebrates Gen Z suffering and even dying. He's just straight up a terrible, terrible human being. Now, thankfully, his channel is rapidly dying and we are rapidly gaining ground on him as we speak. So, if you're new here and enjoying this content, definitely consider subscribing and helping us take down the biggest Gen Z hater out there. The current goal is to surpass him in subscribers by the end of summer. With your help, we can absolutely do this. No one's forcing you to work. You just have to work if you want to eat. This isn't society or capitalism forcing you to work. This is just how the laws of nature work. Nothing is free. This is one of the most widely regurgitated myths from delusional boomers and corporate shills used to gaslight Gen Z and millennials into working for their dogshit wages and modern slavery working conditions. But the facts and science prove that this is just totally and objectively false. The Kung are a tribe who still maintain their hunter-gatherer lifestyle to this day. They only have to work about 15 hours per week to gather food, and extensive field research has shown they consume a very healthy and ample diet of over 2,000 calories per day. On top of this, they show remarkably good health indicators and no nutritional deficiencies. They're able to do this by collecting the freely and abundantly available food sources that grow naturally in the Kalahari Desert. They are definitive scientific proof that this idea that nothing is free, not even in nature, is just a total and utter myth. No human ever had to spend any time, money, or energy to build the mongogo nuts and many other foods that feed the Kung. This is literally as free as it gets. They literally just grow naturally by themselves in nature. This is literally as free as it gets. But this video isn't going to be about the Kung. This video is about you and what you can do about all this. You see, as I was doing research for these videos, I became very curious on why delusional boomers and corporate shills are so hell-bent on pushing this outright lie that food isn't free and that nothing is free. And then it hit me. You see, by pushing this lie that you'd have to work for food anyways, even in nature, they're able to maintain power and control over you because they control all the money and food supply. Food is an especially powerful commodity to weaponize because it's a non-negotiable living expense. This allows them to price gouge the cost as high as they want because they know you can't do anything about it, and we've all experienced this in recent years. If somebody made an iPhone too expensive, you could simply just choose not to buy an iPhone. However, if they make food too expensive, which is exactly what they're doing now, you have no choice but to accept their dogshit wages and work longer and harder hours in order to be able to afford it. But what if it didn't have to be this way? What if we could once again take back control of our own food sources and not be so reliant on the corporations who are absolutely exploiting us with these insane prices right now? Most of us can't move to Korea to work on a smart farm, nor can we move to the Kalahari Desert to collect mongogo nuts. But there are small steps we can all take to reduce our dependence on modern society for our basic needs like food. This is Charles Collins. Like many of you, he got sick of the 9-to-5 corporate rat race and decided to just build his own self-sustaining farm. Now, this might all look intimidating at face value, but it's important to remember that Charles here is literally feeding an entire family with 3 kids here. According to him, however, you can get started at any level, even on a much smaller scale, that would be achievable for a lot of you out there watching.
If you actually want to do it, and you got that spark in you, just take that first step. Literally take that first step. You don't have to do it on a large scale. Like I said, not even an estate, not even a huge yard, not even a patio. I just showed you how to do it on a countertop. If you can grow a basil plant in a cup on your kitchen counter, or in your windowsill, you can do everything that we're doing back there. Don't be intimidated, think big, and think outside of the box.
Charles is able to leverage new age farming techniques like hydroponics, which allow you to grow food with a nutrient water solution rather than with soil, which allows for much faster growth and higher yields, all while taking up much less space. So now it's time to get to the good stuff, which is how can you use this knowledge to escape this nightmare economy we're all living in? Most of us don't have the resources to simply build our own full-time farm like Charles does. However, with modern-day farming methods like hydroponics, we don't necessarily need to. If you have even a small balcony or a window with some sunlight, you can grow basic crops like cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, spinach, and more. A lot of Zoomers are already doing this, and some of these balcony gardens legit look incredible. Keep in mind as well that for most of us, this isn't necessarily about checking out of society and being 100% self-sufficient. That option isn't available or even desirable for a lot of us. This is simply about reducing your dependency on society as much as you reasonably can. You'll likely still need to go to the store and buy some food. It's not going to reduce your food bill to zero overnight. However, it can absolutely cut your food bill by anywhere between 30 to 50%. And on top of that, if like many young people today, you're feeling lost and unable to find work in this absolute dogshit job market, and you feel like you just want to do something productive with your life without needing to rely on a corporation for it, this is a great side project and hobby that pretty much anyone can do that doesn't take that much work, reduces your dependency on money and on society, and takes back some semblance of control over your own life. Conclusion. So, those of you who follow my videos know I'm a huge advocate for universal basic income. Rest assured, I'm not going to be talking about UBI again here, as I talk about it in pretty much every other video. Instead, I'm going to be focusing on one argument I always hear against universal basic income, which always makes me chuckle a bit. But you're going to be dependent on the government now. What if they take away your UBI because you said something they don't like? Because you wouldn't take the shot? Because blah blah blah. The reason this argument always makes me chuckle is because of just how naive it is to believe that being dependent on a job and on a corporation for a paycheck isn't way worse. Do corporations not fire people for saying something they don't like? Did corporations not fire a ton of people for refusing to take the shot? Do corporations not fire people for literally no reason at all? Corporations are the absolute scum of the earth when it comes to this. They even fire people for having cancer. So to me, this is just so cute and adorable that people think having a job makes you all independent, when in reality, all it does is shift your dependency from your parents or the government to a corporation instead. So maybe the real issue here is that we're thinking about dependency in the wrong way altogether. Maybe being dependent on a job for a paycheck and a corporation who doesn't care about you is the absolute worst type of dependency. And maybe the way out of this is to just once again take back control of our basic living needs. It doesn't mean everyone has to be a full-time farmer. It just means that if we all learned even some of the basics, we'd have the power to say no to these corrupt, price-gouging corporations who control all the money and food supply right now. Now, there are some actual inspiring real-life examples of young Zoomers finding ways to do this as we speak, and they can give you a fantastic blueprint to start out with if you're interested in giving this a shot. We explore this more in depth in this video right here. Check it out. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.